Okay, I see myself. I believe I am live. Let me see if I can find the chat. I haven't done this in a while, and I didn't advertise this, so I'm not even sure if anyone is going to show up. So we have so much to talk about. I am not showing a video tonight. This pre-show is a pre-show for the live show in Atlanta, which we're not watching live. Be able to, and this is not Atlanta, by the way. This is Dallas, which is next week, a week from tonight. That's my next show. I'm home. I had an amazing time in Tampa. We have to talk about that. And in about 20 minutes, we're going to have one of our regular viewers, Thomas, who I got to meet in Tampa. He's going to call in, and we're going to talk about Tampa and what went down in Tampa. And we're going to do a little preview of Atlanta today. So I hope to do a couple of these, or maybe one for every show before the show. And there's a lot to talk about today. And I definitely want to be done long before Bruce hits the stage. And if I could just find my sister's in the chat. That is my sister, Stifter's mom. What's up? Marcy, how are you? Welcome to, I don't think you've ever come, except for the one time you appeared on the show. I don't think you've ever come to see the show. Here's my list for the Atlanta pre-show. And I guess the first thing we have to talk about is Backstreet's magazine website. I believe his name was Christopher Cross, not the singer, started this magazine a long time, like before I started listening to Bruce. So Backstreet's magazine existed before I listened to Springsteen. And I remember buying issues. I lived in Michigan, and there were issues at a couple of different places where you could go buy them on the stand, and, easier to get them subscribed. They came out 4 times a year, usually great photography. And before the internet, it was the place to get your news. And it was taken over many years ago by Chris Phillips. And I guess it became pretty much all online content. And they stopped publishing a magazine quite a while ago. Although they say they're going to do one, if I read it right, they said they're going to do one more blowout issue. They've been promising an issue for a long time. Anyway, I want to talk, pretty positively about Backstreets. They were certainly important, and they were the only game in town. And I wonder, where a lot of the content producers for Backstreets are still going to be out there. The writers for that website, the news site, are still going to be producing their reviews, and they're going to end up somewhere. And if you need to go for your set list, Bruce Base, I'm going to show when we get to the Tampa show. I'm going to show Bruce Base. They're getting it up there pretty quick, and you'll be able to get your set list. We will survive without Backstreets, and I get it, man. If they want to retire, a big tour is coming up. They don't feel they have it in them to follow the tour and get the content out there. I understand that. We're all getting older, and not all of us lived at the gym like Bruce Springsteen. But they had to put out that manifesto where, once again, they bit the hand that fed them for all the... Chris Phillips would be nobody without Bruce Springsteen. And, they could have bowed out and said, we're tired and we can't do a 2-year tour and keep you up with the content that you want. And everybody would have applauded and said, you were fantastic, because they were. But to go out with that, they give Springsteen the finger. Read the thing, the manifesto. They really, the ticket fiasco. I love that word. I don't know if they use fiasco, but it was something. I'm not going to read the whole thing. And the fan backlash. They love, they get 25 letters. He has millions of fans. They get 25 letters. They print some of the nastiest ones, and that's, fan backlash. All the fans are angry. Oh, and our empty arenas. Let me tell you something about Tampa. There was not too many empty seats. The seat next to me was empty. The place was packed from rafter to rafter. And I promise you, that's the way it's going to be. Maybe not in Tulsa, but it's going to be packed everywhere. all going, and there's life after Backstreets, and they should have really not. And on show day 2 of the 2023 tour, and people are in Atlanta, and they know now everybody's just talking about, oh, Backstreets. And, I really wish they wouldn't have gone out that way. They shouldn't have done that. Bad taste in my mouth. This tour is fantastic. And I got in on opening night for $100. I sat side stage upper. Wasn't fantastic, wasn't terrible. I wasn't far from the stage. I could see. I wasn't looking at the screens. So the screen for the side stage is so small. So I'm not on board for this negative energy about the ticket prices. I got it for $100. I'm going to Dallas. I don't have a ticket yet. I bought my airline ticket. I don't have a ticket, and I don't have $400 to spend on a ticket, but I'm getting in there. I bought my airfare when I saw $50 tickets on StubHub. I don't want to buy one of those seats yet. I'll find something better. Maybe I'll find something cheaper. But, the uproar, people, when you buy tickets on the day they go on sale, you're paying for this peace of mind you don't really need. I've been saying this for so many years. And there's, I don't know what everybody's so mad about. I really don't. $400 for the pit is kind of expensive, but there's no lottery. You're right up there. I saw the people waiting in line for the pit before the show. I wish I could stand that long and be up there. I couldn't spend $400 on a show, but and I couldn't stand that long. But man, the pit wasn't. Well, I guess by the time the show started, the pit was pretty crowded. Wonder how different the set list will be tonight. I don't think it's going to be very different. First of all, we might see more change up when he goes back to Florida, but because Atlanta and Florida are so far, I think that he has the chance to really do the same show. I saw the whole show sick in bed, thanks to the amazing Audrey Hunn she's talking about. Audrey Hunn had the whole thing streaming from an iPhone on her Facebook page. She was behind the stage, and it was fantastic. And we're going to take a look at that show soon, I hope. In pretty good quality, I hope. Maybe not as quick as I thought. I got a lot of trips coming up, and oh my God, there's a lot of footage out there. We're gonna get to look at Tampa, and when Thomas calls in about 12 minutes, we're gonna talk in depth about Tampa and what went on in that show and how much fun it was. We're gonna talk about Atlanta tonight, and I have friends there, and I was hoping I could get someone to call in from Atlanta, but I don't think that's gonna happen. And I guess I should put up the arena for the show that's happening tonight, and not my first thing was put up my next arena and just leave that up until that show, which is a week away. But there's going to be there's one more show. There's Atlanta, and then Hollywood and Orlando before next Friday night when I go to Dallas, right? Like I promise you every week, don't go by my memory. My content here is not good. So when Thomas comes on, I'll bring up the set list on the screen so that you can see it. We talked about Backstreets. Oh, one more thing I wanted to say. You heard a lot of people when the ticket uproar was happening about how Bruce was harming his legacy. And I think that's what Backstreets did today, when once again they chomped down on the hand that fed them their whole publishing careers over. Because what did they want him to say? Everything he said was exactly what I've been saying since people started crying about, you sound just like the Taylor Swift fans and just like the Madonna fans. And who's going on sale real soon? Somebody big is going on sale real soon. I can't remember who it is. Rihanna. No, Rihanna's doing the Super Bowl. It's somebody else big like that is about to embark on another tour, and the tickets are going to be the same thing. And that's the way it is, because the population keeps growing. The music keeps getting more and more popular. The buildings stay the same size. The value of the dollar shrinks. It has nothing to do with the evil Ticketmaster, who, let me tell you something, before Ticketmaster, I used to have to drive to Findlay, Ohio to buy tickets if it was outside of my market. Or I had to sleep on the ground for 14 hours. And then sometimes there'd be something wrong with the computer, or the guy wouldn't show up until 10:30, and you didn't get tickets. Ticketmaster's awesome. They're a little pricey. They're not that bad. I was looking at the the fees. I mean, the $200 seats that dropped for Tampa had $48 in fees. 25% of the ticket price got added on. Look, man, it's 2023. The dollar ain't worth shit, and concerts are expensive. That's just how it is, and it's not Bruce Springsteen's fault. And people, oh, he doesn't need any more money. How much money do you think he doesn't need any more money? You're right. But the industry that he produces for the next 2 years is loaded with people who have jobs that need money. There is so many hands in the pockets of this tour. It's not even funny. Yeah, Bruce is going to make a nice payday that he doesn't need, that he'll hand down. What's he going to buy? That he gives away. He's a fucking philanthropist. You know, but the industry that he creates for the next 2 years puts food on people's tables. And we come out because of Bruce Springsteen, and he doesn't have to come out. He doesn't need the money, but he does come out. I know I keep saying that. What's next before maybe I told Count Thomas to call in too a little late. Oh no, I wanted to talk a little bit more about my trip before he came on. I haven't had a chance to watch all my field reports, but the ones I did watch were very disappointing. My earbuds did not have the audio that I was hoping for. And I really don't think they sounded very good. It was hard to hear. And you know what I was disappointed in? The videos that I thought were like my worst videos got so far the highest views. And the ones that I really liked the best got the lowest views. The ones where I was like walking around Tampa on my way to the show, nobody watched those. Nobody was watching live. I don't know if anyone was watching live, but you know, there's like 19 views on the one where, you know, I approached the show, and when I found the pre-party and all that, nobody watched those. Everybody watched the one where I was half asleep in my hotel room, and just, I don't even know, I went on and on like I'm doing now. And then yesterday, you know, to save a fortune, I booked a flight that didn't leave Tampa till 11 p.m. Eastern time yesterday. And so my checkout time was 11 a.m. I had 12 hours to kill, and to leave any earlier was going to cost me like 150 more. The plane fare was 140 as it was. It would have doubled to leave at like, it was like 2 o'clock. I think I could have left 9 hours earlier. And instead I stuck around Tampa. I went to the movies, and then I hung out at the airport for like 6 hours. And that sucked. And I'm supposed to do something very similar, but worse, overnight in Portland. Oh, I'm dreading that. Oh my God. I got through it in Tampa. I went to see The Whale. Steve Van Zandt looking thin. Brendan Fraser looking fat. And seeing myself waddle around Tampa on my playback. I'm going on some monster fasting diets the rest of this tour. I eat like shit on the trips, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to change that. But my plan, you know, I read a lot of fasting books. I've done a lot of intermittent fasting and even more serious fasting in the last 2 years. But it seems like whenever it starts to work, I bail out because it's fucking hard. It's fucking hard not to eat. Especially a guy who eats a lot like I do. It's fucking hard. It's easier for me to change what I eat, but even that is hard. But real serious fasting, 36-hour and 72-hour fasts do burn weight off of me if I stick to them. And I think that during my off time, that's what it's going to be. And I'm saying that publicly as to try to shame myself into keeping up with it, because the fucking Whale and Steve Van Zandt looking amazing and me looking like shit walking through Tampa, it's inspired me, I hope, to get off my fat ass and not eat at all anymore. I'm gonna just quit it. Not an eating disorder. I'm gonna monitor it very closely and try not to obsess on it. And I hope we're gonna be here tomorrow night. I'm showing a video tomorrow. I don't remember what it is, but it's got the sweet audio. And we're going to do a pre-show tomorrow. And hopefully I'll have something to report that I didn't bail out on that. I need to take off 100 pounds right away. I want to, before the end of this tour, maybe I can't do it by Detroit, but before the stadium shows, I want to look like as thin as Steve Van Zandt. So I'm headed into the movie, and I was on Twitter, and in my head all day in the morning, I got Seasons in the Sun stuck in my. They had joy, we had fun, we had seasons in the sun. But the something done, the seasons have all gone. That one, goodbye, my friend, it's hard to die. Stuck in my head all day. And I went to Twitter, like when I was headed into the movie. I was like, I just saw Bruce Springsteen. Why is Seasons in the Sun the song that's stuck in my head? And then the lights came out in the movies. This is like 15 minutes after that tweet. And the new John Wick trailer comes on. And I'm telling you, man, go Google the John Wick trailer. I swear I'd never seen it before. I don't know what put that song in my head, but the John Wick trailer just plays that fucking song through the whole thing. It blew my mind. I was just like, why is this song in my head all day? And now here it is on the big screen. That was absolutely crazy. So Atlanta tonight, I got friends who are in the building. They were in Tampa and they were in Atlanta. And I hope to come back like when the Atlanta show is over and just go over the set list with you real quick. Maybe I'll get a chance to text them the phone number so they can call in on their way out. It's Cynthia, my archivist. She lives in Atlanta, so she'll be headed home. Maybe she'll talk to us on speakerphone or something while she's driving out of the parking and let us know how the show was. So I'm going to try to go live tonight after the show. Show started at 8 and was over at 10:45 last night. I believe Atlanta, Georgia is on Eastern time. So I think we're looking at the same thing, 8 p.m. Eastern to 10:45. I'm hoping he starts to go a little longer. I mean, it was enough. I'm not saying we didn't get our money's worth. It's just so hard to say goodbye, isn't it? It's so hard to go, what? It's over? Where's my extra hour? How dare the airlines charge so much? I lost 70 pounds running on a treadmill to Bruce Live in Barcelona DVD. Marcy's watching videos with awful sound. The Barcelona DVD is the legendarily worst sounding Bruce video, but it's the Rising Tour. Fantastic, fantastic tour. And we don't have any good audio from the Rising Tour. None. There is no good audio because that's the only official release from the Rising Tour, except I take that back. Helsinki. I'm going to send you Helsinki, Marcy. You can't watch it. It's not a video, but Helsinki is probably the only decent sounding Rising recording. They sold it through Nugs, and it's the only one. They have lost all the Rising. They recorded it on some ridiculous recording system that became obsolete before they ever started releasing anything. And they can't, with all their billions of dollars, they can't. That's what they're saying. They can't find a way to extract it. I think that's corrupt or something. Whatever it is, I've written it off. There's going to be no more Rising releases. But I will get you over Helsinki from 2002. We went and saw him at the Palace on that tour. And then we saw him again on the stadium leg of that tour at Comerica Park. I'm sure you remember that one far more than you remember the Palace show. And Thomas is here. I'm going to admit him from the waiting room. And he is going to be coming to us on the phone. And it occurs to me that I better put my headphones on.
Oops.
All right. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right, beautiful. I wasn't wearing my headphones because I don't have anyone to hear usually. Then I realized better put my headphones on. So also, let me get the set list up here on the screen. We're going to go back and talk a little bit. We're going to talk a little bit about Tampa because Thomas was in Tampa. Thomas is from Florida. He's been with us since the old channel. He's there almost every Saturday night. He's in the chat. He's watching the shows with us. He's been a loyal viewer, and I finally got to meet him in Tampa. And not only did I meet him, I stashed my selfie stick in his car, and he drove me back to my hotel, and that was an experience riding.
And then I almost killed you because we drove on the wrong side of the road.
Yes, we did. I remember it well. That was an experience riding through Tampa with Thomas. So I'm not
the best driver.
If you can see my screen, Backstreets might be going to Thomas. Did you hear that Backstreets magazine is shutting down for good?
I just found out because I went on their site. You know, what's weird? I've been checking their site for the past couple of days because of, you want the review of the show we went to, and it hasn't been updated at all. And I was like, what the hell is going on with Backstreets? And then they came out with the thing I read. And
if they would have made the announcement yesterday when people were looking for the set list, I would have less of a bad taste in my mouth. But they had to do it right before Atlanta. And I don't know. I think they really hurt their legacy, because I'd be talking about how great they were if they would have just called it quits. If they wouldn't have, done it on show day, second show of the tour, and wrote that. Did you see the manifesto? That's what I've been talking about. Did you see what they put out, their statement?
Yeah, that's what I just read when I went on the site, and I read the whole thing.
I think they could have left out I think they really gave a finger to Bruce Springsteen, and how he not the same thing as we used to, that we signed on for, and so we don't have it in us anymore. And it's like, you know what? I could understand if they'd say, hey, we don't have it in us to do another long tour. We're older. We got jobs. We don't, the website doesn't make the kind of any money, and barely survives, and we just can't run it anymore. I would understand that. But we don't like Bruce anymore. Man, there would be no Backstreets without Bruce. There would be no Chris Phillips without Bruce. And it just really turned me off that people kept saying, oh, Bruce harmed his legacy with the way this ticket sales went down. I think Backstreets really harmed their legacy with the way they went out and said nasty things about Bruce Springsteen on their way out. I think that was really a big mistake.
You are still in the most people, I think, are fed up with these ticket prices, and I know you've always stood up for it, but most people are in their camp, as far as.
I mean, I don't like the high prices, but that's the industry. It's not Bruce Springsteen. That's every show that's going on sale is the same thing. Taylor Swift was the same problem. Madonna's the same problem. The next show, I don't remember who it is, but there's someone big going on sale. It's impossible to get tickets. That's just the way it is. You saw how packed Tampa was. Anybody really sit this one out?
Oh yeah.
It was packed.
No, there was no complaining. That's for sure. We were everyone was happy.
All right, let's get into why we're here, because we're not here to talk about Backstreets, but that did go down today, and they did it while everybody's in the parking lot in Tampa partying it up. So they're all talking about Backstreets. But we're going to talk a little bit about Tampa, and then tonight I'm going to try to get back on, and maybe we'll compare set lists to what we see come out of Atlanta tonight. He's going to be taking the stage in about 35 minutes in Atlanta.
Right.
So No Surrender. Is that a big surprise? Yep. I didn't think that was a big surprise, because it seemed like that leaked that he'd been playing that as the opener in the rehearsals.
Yeah, I thought it was either going to be that or Ghosts, but
Ghost became popular opinion, and I thought it was going to be Ghost because at the very beginning of the rehearsals, they seemed to play that one every day, where they were playing different songs every day, but Ghost seemed to get worked out every day. It seemed like that might be first, but then there was a few shows a few days right in a row where they started with No Surrender, and I was like, oh, they're putting together the set. That's going to be the opener, at least for some period of time. It's going to be No Surrender. So were you excited for No Surrender?
Yeah, it was so great. I mean, I know you said I don't mind admitting I had tears coming down my face
You too.
And I had women next to me, to the right and the left of me, and I was a little embarrassed, but hopefully they were just staring at Bruce and not looking at me. But I was
that empty seat. Remember the empty seat? I had that empty seat, and the two guys were separated from me, and I just lost it. And No Surrender. Sure, I love that song, but it's not one that ever brings up that much emotion. But just being there, I just felt.
Yeah, I was
there.
a wreck for the first couple of songs. I think I couldn't.
Ghost was incredible. For me, the best part of the whole thing was all the new stuff. You know how some bands, you go see the show and you want their classics, and when they say, "Hey, this is for my new album," everybody heads for the bathroom.
Yes.
That is not the case with Springsteen.
No. It's never been.
Unless it's a soul.
It's never
cover.
been for me. For me, I always want to hear the new songs.
Unless it's a soul cover, right?
Right. No, I'm not. Yeah, because they're not written by him. But the song, the actual albums, what I consider an actual Bruce Springsteen album, I love the new songs. I loved it, just like The Rising and everything. I mean, and he did. I got them highlighted here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 songs from the new album.
6. Well, after Ghost, he went in to prove it for all those people who go to the bathroom on the new one. He went barreled in to prove it, and that was the first of 4 or 5 from Darkness too. It was a heavy Darkness set list. Prove It, Letter to You, right back into the new one. Letter to You. I thought Letter to You kicked ass. One of the highlights of the show. And then Promised Land, Out in the Street, Candy's Room, Kitty's Back, Brilliant Disguise. That's a hell of a pack right there. Right there. That's the price of admission right there. All of that.
Yeah.
And then Night Shift.
Night Shift is when you and I both went to the bathroom.
I like Night Shift, and I didn't want to have to tell everybody that I went to the bathroom during Night Shift like I knew you would, but I pretty much knew. I knew during Brilliant Disguise that unless the next song is like from Tracks or it's like Jungle Land, I am hitting right. Well, unless it's from Tracks or Jungle Land, I'm hitting the bathroom because I gotta pee. And it was Night Shift, and I gotta chuckle. I was like, "Oh, Thomas is gonna be happy. He's probably going to the bathroom too. He'll be happy." I skipped Night Shift, and sure enough, that is where I just had to go. And I am just too old to make it through a Bruce Springsteen show without going to the bathroom a couple of times.
It was the only time I left.
I like Night Shift. I think I would have rather have gone during Don't Play That Song, but. The tour is early. I'm going to really get into these videos. I'm going to find out exactly what I like the most. And then E Street Shuffle was awesome. And then Johnny 99 was a jaw dropper for me. I wasn't expecting Johnny 99, and I got winded, and I was just going crazy. People around me were just like, "What is wrong with that guy? Oh, he's special." And then Last Man Standing, which I got choked up during the intro to Last Man Standing. Yeah. He talked about his bandmate from the Castiles, whose name escapes me because I am not a fan who remembers facts. There you go. And I got choked up there. And House of a Thousand Guitars, which I'm a huge fan of. I love that song, and I was glad he played it because I don't even think it was in the rehearsals. And Backstreets, which was in the rehearsals, but I was a little trepidatious. I was like, I don't know. I tend to miss Backstreets. Back in. Go ahead.
Oh, it was great. I know House of a Thousand Guitars. He said in an interview that was his favorite song at the time of the interview. Someone asked him, "Hey, what's your favorite on the album so far?" And he said, "House of a Thousand Guitars."
I really love that song, and I was really glad to hear it because I was thinking we weren't going to hear it. And
I love them all. I love all the songs on Letter to You. So even the one I didn't quite like at the time. Rainmaker, I've grown to love that now. So
yeah, I'm a big fan of the Rainmaker. I listened to Letter to You twice on the plane coming back, and Rainmaker really stands out as a great song that I'd like to hear him bring out on the stage real soon. Because the night Nils, he kind of started to go into the spin, and then he stopped, like as if maybe he remembered he promised somebody, his doctor or his wife, somebody that he wouldn't do it anymore because it seemed like he was going to go into it, and they just stopped after like a quarter spin. I thought that was, maybe it was on purpose, but it just kind of looked to me like he was going to spin, and they went, "Oh wait, no, I'm not supposed to do that." And She's the One was a surprise. I think I wasn't expecting a She's the One. I'm not sure if that was in the rehearsals or not. I did not study those rehearsal set lists that closely. I glanced at them when they came up. Wrecking Ball. Wrecking Ball's a powerhouse song. I sang along. I had a great time.
I didn't think I'd like. I was never a fan, but I actually liked it. As soon as it started to get going, I was like, damn, I couldn't help but love it. So it was
The
good.
Rising, great song. I think that I don't need to hear another Rising. I think Bruce has pretty much settled that it's an every night song. I think he's been playing it every night for a long time now. And I think it's here to stay, like Badlands and Born to Run as an every night song. And, that's okay. I'm not the one to criticize. That's his set, not mine.
No.
But,
I didn't
if it's the one that if I was going to remove one, I get mad when people say stuff like that. And here I am. But it would probably be the Rising. I've heard a lot of Rising since 2002.
Yeah, I think I would have to agree with you on that one. As much as I love it, I wouldn't miss it if he took it out. Just take it out every now and, at least replace it with something else.
Not a set list expert. I see a lot of shows. I really think he's played it nearly every night since 2002 at every not counting Devils and Dust, which was very different.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think he's never not played it. So
Badlands. If my body hadn't started aching yet, by the end of Badlands, I was hurting. And then Burn and Train. At the end of Badlands, I ran to go pee a second time. I was hoping I have time before he played anything because they kind of did, the bows and stuff. And I ran to the bathroom. We had a bathroom really close to where my seat was, and I was close to I was in like that front row of that section right there. So I was right out, but I didn't make it. I heard Burning Train starting up while I was in the bathroom, but I only missed about a minute and a half of it, and I got back to my seat.
I would have hung myself if I missed Burning Train.
Just a minute of it.
Burning Train is probably my favorite song on the album, and that was a huge surprise because they never practiced that as far as I know. And it says actually on Bruce Bass that they sound checked it at Tampa, so which I didn't know until I read it later. But it was excellent. The only, if I have any complaint about, I think I may have even said this to you already, but Burning Train, the way they incorporated the something extra in it, like a whoa, 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 or something. I don't really remember, but I thought that kind of took away from the song. I don't think
it's probably here to stay, and if you keep coming to my broadcast, if I start getting those shows going, I think it'll grow on you.
Yeah, I'm not complaining about it, but I guess I am complaining about it, but I'm not really complaining about it because it was still great.
So then the house lights come up, and it's Born to Run into Rosie with the house. They left the house lights up through Rosie. So
yes, you're right. I was wondering why. I thought that was a mistake or something. Like it was great, but I was like, I wonder why they still have the lights on.
Lights stayed up. That's going to be the way it's going to be. You're going to see the fact that the lights stayed on for Rosie tells me that Born to Run Rosie is going to be throughout the tour. If you're going somewhere, you're going to get to see Born to Run Rosie with the lights on. That is predestined, most likely. I don't see him pulling it off the set list.
Nothing wrong with that.
So Glory Days. So here's a wonder if about the encore, if it's all going to be the same every night, because Glory Days dancing. I like Glory Days. Danson's been there for so long, and he's not pulling anyone up on stage, which is good. And it's shorter.
That is good.
I think we might be seeing pretty much the exact same encore every night for this tour, because you got Glory Days and Dancing are Glory Days has never been really an every night song. We'll see tonight. If Glory Days is there, I think it's going to be the same every night. If something else replaces Glory Days, because I think Dancing's going to be there regardless. And 10th is definitely going to be there. That's the only time he used that middle stage. The whole show, I was like, he never went out to that middle stage. And then at 10th, right near the end of the show, he went out to the middle stage on 10th Avenue Freeze Out. And
did you think that was the end of the show?
I thought that might be the end of the show. It seemed really short. But when the rest of the band went,
they all left.
Right. He waved them off and he kind of stayed. And I saw Buell with the acoustic coming up, because I was right there side stage. I saw him with the acoustic and I was like, oh, if he's got the harmonica, it's going to be Thunder Road. Because that's,
Yeah.
one of the things he does to close is he'll do solo acoustic Thunder Road with the harmonica. And I was like certain. And sure enough, he comes up the stairs with the harmonica. And I was like, oh, it's going to be Thunder Road. And then I'll see you in my dreams. It's like,
which is, oh man, I said Burning Train was my favorite. Now that I'm thinking about it, it may be I'll See You in My Dreams from the album. But he did it solo acoustic, which is still excellent, and I can't complain. But I would have preferred a full band, I'll See You in My Dreams, which I hope he still does at some point.
He sound checked Burning Train. I didn't know that. Did you know that?
Well, that's what I just said earlier. Yeah, I did. I read it later that he sound checked Burning Train because Burning Train was never in the rehearsals. So they must have just practiced that day.
So that was Tampa. And now tonight is Atlanta. And I'm really hoping, I'm expecting he's not going to mix it up that much. But I'm really hoping
I think you might
he mixes
be right.
it up. I really hope he mixes
I think you're
it up
right.
a lot.
I don't think it's going to be mixed up a lot. I mean, that would be awesome. That would be awesome because, just in past tours, we know that usually the beginning of the tour.
And especially since
standard.
they are so far from each other, that it's not going to be a lot of the same people where he's coming back to Florida. I think we're more likely to see him mix it up a little bit more when he comes back to Florida, where he might see some of the same people that were in Tampa, because Atlanta's a weird haul. If you want to go to like multiple shows, I think that when me and my sister were talking about going to Florida initially, we talked about doing Tampa, Orlando, maybe Hollywood, even though, that was probably out of our price range. But Tampa and Orlando for sure, which meant hanging out. We were going to go to Orlando and go to Disney World or Universal or something and hang out while he went to Atlanta. Because why do all those miles? Just go to Orlando and wait. Go to Orlando and wait for him. But what became easier was just fly to Tampa, fly back, and now next week I'll fly to Dallas. Where are you going? You're going to Tulsa, right?
I'm considering two of the shows that you're going to, Tulsa and Houston.
Houston.
Think of the two.
That is on Valentine's Day.
That I'm available for, and so those, and then of course Orlando I'm going to, and Orlando is about an hour and 20 minutes drive for me. So,
but Tampa was nearly that, wasn't it? Was Tampa like 40 minutes?
Yeah, about 40 minutes. So so it's no, I've gone to Atlanta. I've driven to Atlanta. It took me about 6.5 hours to drive there.
I've driven with Thomas. If he says it takes an hour and 20, it would take the rest of us 2 hours.
Yeah, I seem to have a problem with the gas pedal.
Yeah, you get there quicker than most, I'm sure.
I was still high from the show, so I was driving like a maniac.
I had a blast. It was a great time in Tampa. I've been so tired, and I had work today getting caught up with everything that I missed while I was gone. And I planned to I wanted to read the list of all the people that helped get me there. I will do that tomorrow. And I didn't even advertise tonight's show, so some people might pick up on it. And I know that my sister and Felix is here. Hey, Felix. And I know a few people made it live, and it'll be up on my channel. But tomorrow, I'll send out the link to everybody on the list, and we're going to watch a show. I'm probably not going to show any shows on nights. I don't want to compete. People like watching the set list. People like watching. My sister watched Tampa on Facebook from somebody's phone who was behind the stage. She watched the whole thing. And people like to do that. So I'm not going to compete with them. If there's a show on a Saturday night, I'm not going to show one. But if he's not playing, like tonight he's playing, it's Friday, he's not playing tomorrow, I'm going to show a show. And one of these days it's going to be Tampa because I'm working on it already.
Don't you think you should wait for the professional audio?
Well, yeah, I am. When I show it, I'll have the professional audio. But I've already,
it might not be available.
I started compiling the videos. I started making my proxies. There's a lot of work that goes into it. That's not just cutting it. I probably won't start cutting it until the audio comes out because that makes my life a little bit easier. But, with modern day recordings, the speed is usually right on the money. And if I cut it with the sound that's on there, I can just lay on the nugs when it comes out, even though I've already done the editing. So, but it'll probably be out before I'm done downloading all the videos and converting them. I have low powered computer. I'm not going to explain the details of the techie stuff, but I have to make a duplicate of every file in a lower definition to do the editing with, because my computer can't handle playing the high def files. So it makes, when I'm editing, I'm actually editing in low def, but when it comes out, you see the actual high def. I'm not going to explain exactly how it works, but it's a lot of encoding time with my computer. So it's going to take me a while to get Tampa done. There's a ton of great video already that I found. I've got the first 4 songs downloaded, and I also have a whole show that was shot from behind the stage that's not very good, but it'll fill in all the gaps, so we won't have any long video not available sections. There might be some shitty video from behind the stage sections, but I think most of it's there. There's a lot of filmers there. A lot of guys were filming, and there's a lot of close-up stuff, pit stuff from the lower bowl that looks like it was on a tripod. I think that we're gonna have a great video of Tampa, and I hope tonight that they put out just as much. You know, I won't be able to do every show because it takes me a lot longer than 3 days to make a show, and he's playing a show every 2-3 days. So, you know, but I'm going to do Tampa, and then we'll see from there. In about 19 minutes, Bruce is going to take the stage in Atlanta, and I'm going to be back whenever that show ends. When I'm not going to follow the set list really that closely on Twitter tonight. I got other things to do. I just got back in town, but I am going to, you know, follow a little bit, and when it's over, I'm going to go live, and we will do just a quick recap of the set list, and we'll see if anything changed, what changed, and how much we hope could change again by the next show. Is the next show Orlando? Is that the next one?
Yes.
And that is Sunday. Day after
I will
tomorrow.
be there.
All right, that's awesome. So I'm gonna broadcast every day. I'm on right now. I'm gonna sign off in a minute. I'm gonna do a pre-show tomorrow before I show a video, and then Sunday I'm gonna do another pre-show. And hold on to this phone number, but it's probably gonna be a different code to punch in. I'll send that to you. Maybe you give us a call from the parking lot in Orlando when I do my pre-show on Sunday.
Yeah,
and
and I know Orlando has a good. Has just like one big parking lot that you can tailgate from, and everybody's partying and got RVs and cranking Bruce, and a lot different than Tampa. So
you're making me jealous. You're making me jealous.
Yeah,
I could have gone. I could have gone to Universal Studios too. I just couldn't. We couldn't work it together. And then it turns out my sister got really sick. She was really sick while we were in Tampa, so it wouldn't have worked out had we planned that whole trip anyway. All worked out for the best. Hey, Thomas, thanks for calling in. I'm going to let people go so they can go find their place to watch it on Facebook or watch it on, don't come to me looking for a link. I don't know, but I think you can find it on Facebook, and I think you can find it on Instagram. My sister found it when we were in Tampa. I'm sure if you want to hear it or see it from somebody's iPhone live, you'll find it somewhere. I'm not sure where. I'm sure on Twitter they'll be doing. I know Backstreet's chat site, the BTX, is still active. They said it's going to shut down soon, but I bet you if you go there tonight, you can find a set list thread. Greasy Lake usually has a set list thread. I don't know if Stone Pony London has a set list thread, but everyone should check that place out. It's the only Bruce fan chat forum that has not banned me. So check out Stone Pony London. There's not a lot of people on it, but there should be. It's the best one.
Let me write that down.
Stone Pony London.
Okay.
Go join. Tell them the Phisherman sent you.
I will.
All right, guys. Hey, let's go find out what happens in Atlanta tonight. I had a blast in Tampa. Tomorrow, I'm going to read the list of all the benefactors that helped get me there. And thank you again. And a shout out to Tom, the first guy. About 3 people came up to me while I was in Tampa and said, I love your channel. And shout out to Dom, who was the first one. I got a picture of him. I'm going to post it on Twitter. And also there was a couple of women who came to me after the show while I was totally distracted by so many other things. And then the next thing I knew, they were gone. 1 minute they're here, and the next minute they're gone. And
well, I think they saw you were busy, but those girls would have gone home with you that night. Well,
that's not why I regret losing, where they turning around and they were gone. I regret that just because I feel bad that I was totally distracted. They sought me out and they told me they've been following my Twitter all day, and I did hear them. I was trying to meet Cynthia. I was hoping to meet up with her, and I was getting texts and tweets, and then I didn't find out exactly who they were. And they told me they had left me a message on one of my posts about waiting for the bus, and I went back through my tweets and I couldn't find them. And I don't know if they just follow my Twitter or if they watch my channel, but if they're out there, I regret that I didn't pay you a little bit more attention. I'm sorry, and I hope you reach out, because I would love to get to know you. And not because of what Tom said. I'm very well involved. But Tom, thanks for coming on the show today. It was great to meet you. And if you come to Houston, let me know, and I'll see you in Tulsa. And everybody else, I will see you tomorrow. This has been nothing but fun, and we're only one show in. And I'll see you tonight. I'm going to come back and we'll talk about tonight's Atlanta show, not based on being there, but just on seeing the set list and maybe hearing maybe I'll hear some of the Facebook Live. It might take, I don't know. Dawn wants some of my attention this month, I'm sure, but there's not a show every night. Listen, guys, there's no chat to see you in, but I'll see you further on up the road.